Welcome back, everybody, to the TMI FYI podcast. I'm Nat.
And I'm Claude.
And we're your two drunk aunts. Just kidding.
Well, I mean, cocktails or coffee. Today we chose cocktails.
We're both aunts, and we're getting there.
I'm a great aunt.
Oh.
I have that extra title.
Oh, yeah, you do.
It's better than grand aunt, which makes you sound like 100.
What about like the Grand Dame? Do you watch? Oh, you're not a Housewives person.
No, I left it a while ago, but it's okay.
Well, the Grand
great
Dame
aunt.
of...
I always say, yes, I am, because you can say great.
That's true. There's the Grand Dame of the Real Housewives of Potomac. And
God. No, didn't even...
And she's real drunk. She's in jail for DUI, so she's an actual drunk.
So we're just keeping it local, right?
Anyway,
we're not driving with
beyond that.
drinking.
No, we're not. So,
How's
what you
your
been up
weekend?
to?
Yeah. How was your weekend? It was a nice long weekend.
Yeah, I had a great weekend. I was in New York, which is, as you know,
my favorite place. My favorite easy to get to places, because I have other favorite places, but they take a little more traveling.
No, New York is my number one favorite place of all time ever, and it's home for me. So I go there a lot, but this time I was actually there for a wedding, which was super nice. One of my husband's best friends got married, and they had the most quintessentially New York wedding. They had a ceremony in Central Park, and then they had a reception at this very like old school New York steakhouse, and then we went to a drag queen club in Bushwick, and it was perfect.
How fun!
It was so good. And you know what it made me think of? I kind of wish I would have gotten married a little bit later in life, because
like you want to redo it. Like I said, if I did it now, it would be completely, and I would enjoy it. So like the pressure that you put on yourself for your wedding and this angst and the this, and you tell yourself, I'm going to enjoy it, but it's just the build up. And now it's kind of like, okay, now I realize that maybe I should have just had, which I did. We were the last people out of the reception. We closed the doors. So I know that I enjoyed mine. Microphone, and won't, there it is. Yeah. And I know my husband's family was like, what the fuck did he just marry?
Nice.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm proud that I know the lyrics, and I still do.
As do I.
So I would redo a lot of that, but yeah, it's like enjoy it, like dance, do all the things you want to do with your day.
Well, yes, all of that. And what I loved about this in particular, and anyone who's like getting married, just things to think about. They had such thoughtful touches. Every detail of that wedding was specific to either them as individuals or to them as a couple. And so I feel like when I got married, I wasn't super young. I was 30, but I was just thinking of different shit. Like I was just like, what's pretty? What looks nice? And I wasn't as focused on those like really special details.
That means something.
And I had some of that, but theirs was like from top to bottom.
Like if you knew them, you knew those things meant something. Like, oh, this is him. This is,
Exactly.
That's awesome.
And they also, it wasn't a huge wedding, which is another thing where I'm like, the older you get, you kind of weed people out.
Yeah. It's like, do I really want you there on my special, like it is
people you don't know, fulanitos,
obligations, obligatory invites.
Exactly.
No.
They didn't have those. No. It was just everyone who was there was a close personal friend or family member. And it was great.
I always say I've talked to a couple of people that like think at their weddings, you're getting married, or do they want big or not, or destination or whatever. And I always say, if you're going to have a party at your house to celebrate something special, who do you want there?
Yeah.
Those people. Those are the ones you want at your wedding. Sure, your parents will probably want some of their friends because their close friends have watched you grow up, and they want to have someone to share that day with. But I mean, that's a whole nother podcast. I have a thing on the moms and the bridezillas. It's your kid's wedding. Let them do you had yours.
Well, that's the thing though. When you get married older, you're probably not depending on your parents to help you. I definitely still had my parents helping me. And then when people are helping you financially, you kind of got to let them have their couple invites here and there. So all to say, PSA, get married a little bit later in life, and it'll be great. And have your wedding in New York.
Or just make it clear, or just, sometimes I tell people, if some of my daughter's friends or people in between, somebody's kids, and they talk about, but we don't want the big, I go, you know what, have a great big engagement party and say, you know what, we plan to have a small wedding, but we want to include you all, and you just have a big party, and just have a big party, and then do your ceremony and your thing.
That's a nice compromise.
And whatever. And that way you get to include everybody without having to include everybody in the costly thing.
Well, they did it just right. I'm such a fan of how they did it. And it was a great weekend. I ate everything that New York City has to offer. I know. But
it's the one place, it's almost like calories don't count.
Nothing you do counts. Walk a lot. So that is a plus.
Like Europe.
It's like that.
The Europe.
But the food situation was a lot. And it kind of
just so yummy.
It's all so good. And by the way, the wedding food, this was like the steakhouse, like they gave you like a 10-ounce steak. It was not like a wedding little baby portion. It was like for a man. Like a real,
like you're hungry.
Yeah. And I looked at it and I was like, and this is going to tie into everything we're going to talk about today, which is all about diets and diet culture. But I remember I looked at the steak and I was like, oh my gosh.
This is too big. I can't finish this.
So
and you're like, there's not more? By the time you get to the last one, I go, fuck, I ate this full.
Yeah, like I couldn't possibly, like I was offended at how large the steak was. And
my mom used to do that.
Stuffed it down her little gullet.
Like you didn't talk or breathe. Or like, don't talk to me. I am in the steak right now. Just don't even. And
the potatoes and the vegetable. And how many of the little appetizers I have at the beginning, girl?
Don't even. Well, my mom used to do that. Oh no, I couldn't possibly. And then she'd pick off your plate. You're like, okay, girl, you need to scale it. Go back to your plate over there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Well, that's what we do. That's what we do with
the alcohol.
Ladies. Yeah,
make sure that you have something, a little padding.
Yeah, we needed that.
And then you walk it off, and you're fine. It just doesn't count until you get home, and then you're like, oh, I ate like shit, and then it's back to the gym and back to what am I starting this Monday? Because Mondays.
So here's what I started on Monday. I actually did have a...
Tell me what you started, Nat.
Well, I bought a walk. I was influenced by the TikTok girlies, and I bought a walking pad, and now I have this
walking pad.
A walking pad. It's like a treadmill,
okay,
but smaller. So it's not like a full like gym size treadmill.
In place like in one spot.
Yes, and I bought.
Do not. I can't.
Why are you judging? So I bought a desk.
A pad. I've never even heard of that. Okay, I've never heard of that. Heating pad?
No.
Walking pad.
You need to, but it looks like a treadmill. And then I bought like a standing desk that fits over it. And so now I walk while I do my email.
Do you have compression socks?
No, that has nothing to do with this.
Okay. I've never heard of a walking pad. Standing desk, yes. I like the idea of those.
So imagine a little treadmill that you just walk on.
No, well, that's what treadmills are. You walk on them.
So it's a treadmill.
So, but why is it called a walking pad? Is it tiny?
Because it's small. It's not tiny, but it's smaller. It's not like...
and it fits under your bed?
Not my bed, but someone else's bed. Like it could... I don't know if it would fit under yours. But it's not that big.
Okay.
And now I can... Because I was thinking... So I used to live in New York. For those of you who have never met me before. And I was much thinner when I lived there. And part of it I used to think was, oh, well, I was just younger. So obviously, But then I was realizing like, no. It's just that I was walking a lot. And it's movement that you don't even notice because it's like when you have to walk to the subway, up and down the stairs, walk to your job, go to get lunch.
Yeah, we always think about walking in exercise form, but when you're moving your body, even walking to get wherever you're going, that's walking.
That counts.
Yeah.
So I wasn't living here in Miami. I don't do any of that.
No, we don't have public transportation.
No, we don't. So I walk from my bed to my car to my desk.
To a walking pad.
No, now I do walk to a walking pad. And this morning, before I even left the house, I already had like 6,000 steps. Get out of my face. Booyah.
And it works?
Yes. Claudia, it is a treadmill. What are you not? What are you picturing?
A walking pad, like a little spongy.
No, it's a treadmill.
Okay,
just a little bit.
Please don't call it a walking pad anymore.
All right,
I can't.
Fine.
Not with mimosa. Walking pad. What is? Come on.
Fine.
iPad,
treadmill.
Walking pad. Let me just stand and march in place.
Anyway, so
girl, as long as you're moving, I'm going to go in the positive direction. You're moving your body. Okay?
Exactly. I'm getting my steps.
All right.
But here's the thing, and I do think that it's good for your health, but I want to be very honest in saying I did not buy it for my health. I did not buy it for like my cardiovascular. I bought it because I was like, if I buy this and I walk, if I walk, I will lose weight because I'm always thinking about losing weight. And I've never quite gotten over the fact that I'm still like 12 pounds heavier than I was before I had my second kid. But
are you fixated on the number or how you feel in your body and your clothes? or naked?
It's both. Yes, and so
and that too,
and all of it, all of the above. So it's like the number frightens me because like that number is just so foreign. I was always a very thin person.
Away. But
oh yeah, I know.
That's my okay.
No, I agree. It is. And we could talk about the scale in a minute because
scales.
I got thoughts.
I really have very hostile feelings.
Of course.
The scale.
And who doesn't? But the point is, it's like, yes, I feel about that. And then, your body changes. You have kids. You do gain weight, like 12 pounds on us. I'm short. So it's not, those things are noticeable. If I was like 5'9", maybe you wouldn't notice. But so yeah, I have a lot of insecurities about how my body looks now, how much I weigh.
But it's your own. I mean, has anybody, your spouse, your friends, anybody pointed out like, oh, you still haven't lost your baby weight? I mean, your child is 5.
No, but who's going to say that?
For your second one. He's 5?
He's going to be 5, yeah. Thank you for reminding me that it's been 5 years.
It doesn't matter, but your body has been that now for a certain time.
Yeah.
And your body has like memory reset. Like just the same way when you lose weight, you need to maintain it for a certain time. That your body resets itself and says, okay, this is my new normal.
Fear. This is my fear. Is this my new normal? And like, I don't want it to be. So
But why?
Because
I'm going to keep asking that. That's where we delve into this. This is a question of diet cultures, but why?
Exactly.
Where is this pressure?
So
where are you feeling it from?
So it's internal 100%, but I do feel like it comes from, and I think a lot of people can relate to this. Like, so I am a child of the 80s. You're of the 70s.
Well, yes.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I grew up in the 90s.
Grew up in the 80s.
Yeah,
like
sure.
my whole teenage and high school was all 80s.
And I was born in the 80s, lived in the 90s, right? Or grew up in the 90s. We were both of eras where it was a good body was a thin body.
Yeah, the Jane Fondas, the Richard Simmons,
sweating to the oldies, baby.
The Jane Fonda and the stretching and the thing and the jazzercise.
Yes.
Like a million jazzercise things.
Yes.
Flash dance. Remember
Yes.
Flash dance? And you
tight spandex.
Got home from that movie and threw on your garbage bags and went outside with the leg warmers and did the thing. And you're like, okay, I'm going to look like her.
Yes. And then came in the 90s, Calvin Klein, Kate Moss.
Just thinner and thinner and thinner. And
you
thinner.
couldn't be thin enough.
Nope.
And like even
we never broke out of that.
Well, so I think we've tried over time, but you're right. We're still there. Everyone still aims to be really thin. And so when I think about where does it come from, I think I just got a lot of messages in some very formative years that thin is pretty, not thin is not pretty. And
it's funny because everybody's thin is a different,
sure,
like your version of thin, a man's version of thin, a Latin man's version of thin, you're talking, you can't possibly please all the ideas of what thin should be. And there's some people who don't like thin, there's people that like boobs, but I want you to have long, thin legs and a flat ass. Okay. And then there's people who say, oh, well,
this is not boobs. Like build a bitch. Like what?
No, that's what it is. And then you've got the men that I don't care about boobs. She's got to have an ass or thighs.
Oh, yeah.
And then you've got that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then you may be thin for some. So you have to figure out like what you're good with. Yeah.
Right.
What you're good with. And that's, I think, a hard part for women because you feel this pressure you think is on you. And when you kind of step back as time goes on and you get older, you realize, who the fuck is they? Like who the hell is really paying attention or, for me, it's about getting dressed and how I feel in my clothes, like what makes me. And that's something I've arrived at more recently. I've always been battling I'm not thin enough. I'm not thin enough. I need better. No matter how thin I was, no matter how low fat or low count my body fat was when I started working out and stuff like more. I got to 13%, which is ridiculously phenomenal.
What?
Oh, and I was like, no, I need to get to 10. I need to get to 11. And it was all these crazy things I was doing and living my life to become this,
So where did that come from? Because that drive comes from somewhere.
Right,
so like, where would you say your like early memories
my God, from childhood, being thrown comments by my brothers or by people that you could be so much prettier if you lost weight. Your thighs are so big. Your butt is so big. Mind you, this was high school and I was like a size 5 or a 7, something, playing soccer, playing sports. And I'm like, yeah, but I grew up in a very Anglo environment. So everybody was, thinner. Not that I had a voluptuous body. I was, again, a size 5 or 7, but always in my
But you had a different build. You had like a more Latina build.
I guess I did. I don't even realize my legs were bigger. Yeah.
We tend to be bottom heavy. I'm bottom
heavy. Yeah. Definitely more of a shape. I wasn't just
a pear.
And I'm not, straight. And then, and it's different points of my life when I gained weight. I even had strangers, and I can't remember if we've talked about this before or not, but the man at the restaurant, I worked at a restaurant.
Tell this story. tell the public.
Awful.
Tell the public what happened.
I worked at a restaurant after I graduated high school, which is when I gained a ton of weight. Like my senior year in high school, a lot of things going on in my life. And I just kept creeping up in weight. And in your mind, you're kind of like, maybe I'm hiding it. No one notices. It was very obvious. My poor prom date. I couldn't even fit into the dress I bought. I had to go that day and like borrow a dress to fit into a bigger dress. It was awful. And so then I was working at a restaurant, and we had like the regular customers that came into the bar, and there was this Middle Eastern man. Is that the PC? Sorry if I'm saying the wrong term. I don't even know what the correct term is.
He's a man.
A man.
A man comes in.
Man comes in.
A man walks into a bar.
Man walks into a bar in his suit, and I remember what he was wearing only because I'm traumatized. He was wearing a gray suit, maroon tie, with his like mullet type feathered hair. And I'm serving beer during happy hour because there are dollar drafts, and I've got my hands full of beer. And he walks up, and I'm like thinking, oh, he's gonna go to his table, his regular table. I'm gonna get his regular drink. And he grabs my face and he says, "What happened to you?" And I'm thinking, what? I've been here. Like, I haven't taken a day off. What do you mean what happened? He goes, and I go, what? And I'm standing there with beer, and he goes, "You could be so pretty if you just lost some weight."
I mean, could you just? So frozen in time, and I'm thinking, oh, okay. So I'm embarrassed. Like, of course,
this man noticed I gained weight. Duh, because I was like heavy.
Yeah.
And like, oh, so it matters. It matters what you weigh, what you look like. People notice. It makes a difference. You're worth it or not, depending on how good you look. And that was just like the seed planted.
Yeah.
Of course, from then on, I went to gain more weight, because the more someone tells you, you're like, fuck you, I'm going to gain more weight. I'm not going to do it because you told me to. At some point, it flipped. And then I started doing anything and everything, along with the diets I had done, Weight Watchers and all that, through high school, and the pineapple diet and the South Beach diet and the whatever diet, drink only water and watermelon, whatever, a million. I ordered some diet pills, I think, from Brazil, from someone I didn't even know. And I just filled out a thing and faxed it and got these wonderful diet pills that
Please
had
do not do this. Nobody at home.
Don't do this.
Please don't do this. Do not follow this advice.
They worked. And then from then on, and then, of course, you get the recognition or the attention of, oh, you've lost. Wow, you look great. What did you do? You lost weight. Of course, you get praised every time.
Yeah.
So, and this happens in our culture, in Latin culture. Now that I've been with my husband, 30 years, I remember when we were first dating, we would go to his family get-togethers, and he had his older aunts there that were, in their 80s, whatever, and they would grab you and say, "Oh, you look so pretty. Oh, you've lost weight." And in Spanish, "Estás repuestica." You're filled in. You're like, you've recovered. You're like, but don't gain more. You're good just like that. So it's the first thing that gets mentioned. It's the first thing they notice, and it's just like, why is that the first thing?
In our culture,
hey, your hair is long, or I love the haircut you have.
In our culture, it's very common to talk about that. I think that's probably also where some of my ideas came from. My mom was not so much like this, but I think she was impacted by it. But my grandma was very much like this. Like, she was always commenting.
And your grandma lived with you. So it wasn't like you just saw her occasionally. She was with you every day.
She was like a second mom to me, and she was always commenting on bodies. I was always too skinny. My mom was always too big. And she was always, and we would be like, I have memories of being in dressing rooms, and I hope my mom doesn't mind that I share this story, but I just remember it. Like, it's something that it sticks with you. We were in a dressing room. My mom was trying stuff on, and my grandma would say things like, "Oh, you've gained weight," or "That doesn't look great on you," or like, "You look fat in that." My poor mom, who's like the sweetest lady in the world, was listening to this, and I'm sitting there listening to it too. And even though it's not that I agreed with her or anything, but like, it's hard for those messages not to stick with you later on.
Yeah, when you're thinking you're taking a snapshot of what your mom looks like, and you're going, "Oh, her mom's saying that's not good."
And I still remember how much my mom weighed when she would go on diets, because she would tell us like, or I weigh this much, and she didn't like that number. And so she would then go on a diet, and we all knew when she was on a diet because she would
miserable and angry.
She was a raging bitch. No,
Yeah, well, yeah, we all. I
No,
mean,
she
the
actually
minute
wasn't.
they tell you not to eat something, that's when you want to eat the most. It's awful.
She wasn't a bitch, but she would talk about it. Like she would say, like, I'm on a diet. She would eat a different meal from what we were eating. So we would have like spaghetti. She would have, I still remember it. It was like this little beef patty with no bread, no condiments, mushrooms, and a Melba toast. And it was the saddest little meal. And she sat next to me at dinner. We had like assigned seats at dinner.
Yeah.
And I would just look over and be like, God, that fucking sucks. And so it's really hard for those things not to stick with you.
To make an
in
impact
some
somewhere.
way.
Even if in the moment you're not like stuck on it, you recall that.
And so I remember the number. And even now, as a grown woman who's probably about the age she was back then, I think of that number. And I'm like, well, that's big because that's the number my mom was like, I'm fat, I need a diet. So I'm like,
tall or
she's taller than me. Sure, she has a different body type than me. We're totally different people. But that's how much these things can stick in your heads. And so
the numbers are the
just
worst.
thinking about like how we talk about it, especially in front of our young girls. And I don't have daughters.
No,
and you do.
Yes, but I made
it's
a conscious.
important to think
I
about
made a
it.
conscious effort because of the different. So many. I could have an entire episode talking about the different comments that have been made to me, the different scenarios that have been pointed out to me that my thighs were too big or that I needed to compare to this or if I did this a little more, I could look like that as if I needed to achieve and get to this thing. And then I would be
lovable, worthy,
hot, pretty, worthy of someone's attention.
Right.
Who chances are
I don't even
gonna be
want
cheated on you anyway. So I mean, well, like who cares? Like I'd be hot for what? A hot minute until the next hot thing comes along. So
exactly.
Again, that's all kind of like subjective to the person. So you have to, and it's hard. You have to find, and I think it's even harder now with the influence of social media and the access to all of that. It's hard to find what makes you happy when you think, well, I'm trying to please somebody.
Well, the comparison piece is always hard because we are literally hardwired to compare ourselves to other people. But then you add to that we are comparing ourselves now to altered versions of people. It's not even I'm comparing myself to like a real, you sitting right here next to me and being like, whatever, like you're thinner than me or your arms are better or whatever. Now we are literally creating perfect images of ourselves, passing them off as real, and your brain can't help it. You start to compare yourself, and all the tools and things that we've created now make it impossible for people to discern, is this real? Is this not real? You can't even help it. And imagine we are bombarded with these images. And I think the last time we were talking about aging, you were talking about how like this has kind of always existed with the magazines and the retouching. But I feel like it's worse now because now you can literally be a moving image. The magazine used to come to your house once a month. And from, that week that you read it, you were like, oh, this fucking bitch. She looks so good.
Cellulite.
Yeah. And
cellulite is like the biggest, and you know that 97% of women have it.
Yes.
You're born. You're genetic.
It's
like
genetic.
Heidi Klum is a genetic miracle.
Phenom.
Phenom. 4 kids. She looks like, that's genetic. I could work out 24 hours a day. Never.
No.
There's just certain things that it just is what it is, and good for her and awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to have my cellulite. I'm going to have my jiggle. As you get older, your skin gets looser, which is all these things you have to kind of embrace and say, at least I woke up today. And you're told all these positive things you're supposed to say to yourself, and you do, but like,
well, it's important too, because if you get caught up in this rat race, like there's no getting out of it.
Yeah, you're always catching up.
Because it's never going to be enough. You're never going to be thin enough. It's never going to be good enough.
And then it's good enough and thin enough for whom?
Right. Exactly.
So if you're married and your spouse loves you, then you're fine, and you're putting this pressure on yourself, and it's this constant chase. You're chasing you're like the greyhound chasing the rabbit on the thing. And you're like, but just 5 more pounds, and I'm completely guilty of that. And I know I drive my husband nuts, my trainer, my friends. And, I used to, for a while there, when I first started weight training and saw the results, I was like, oh my God, this it's amazing, whatever. And then I got obsessed and I kept saying, I don't want to step on the scale. But then it was measuring your body fat versus a scale. And is your muscle way more? And it was a learning thing. And I learned, okay, yes, muscle weighs more than fat. But every time that I had to step on the scale, I would step on it backwards. Because I didn't want to see it. I go, because it's going to mess with my head. The number just...
It ruins... So I've had this experience so many times where I will wake up in the morning and I'll be looking at myself and I'll be like, damn, girl, like
I'm feeling me
good today. Look at you. Have you lost weight? You look good.
Ooh, I'm snatched, right? Isn't that the word? Is that a popular young word?
It is.
I am. Some lady told me that in the dressing room trying on that jumpsuit, and I loved it. And she said, oh, you look snatched. And I go, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, no, that means you look good.
Like, I think they smiled. So I was like, okay, must be a good thing. Okay, cool. I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I guess that means like
yeah, you look tight. You look good.
Yeah, so you're feeling that.
I'll wake up some days and that's how I feel. And then I'll be, because I am a masochist, I'll be like, I'm going to step on the scale just to confirm that I have indeed lost weight and I am a goddess. And then I step on the scale and I weigh like 4 more pounds than I did the last time. It's like, fuck you, bitch.
It's a big emoji with laughing tears.
Yeah, it's
going,
like,
girl, no.
Fatter than ever. And I'm like...
Pushing the limit.
Cannot compute.
Yeah.
And then it ruins my fucking day. And here
Completely.
Here I am having the best day ever. I feel so good, so confident. I'm radiating
and you're
positive
like banging
energy.
the scale going, wait, maybe it needs new batteries.
Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, well, now the day is done. I'm a completely deflated balloon.
Number.
Because the number. Even though I felt
no
great.
one dictates the number.
And no one even
cares.
saw the number. Just me.
You could manipulate that number by 10 in either direction. No one knows.
No, and it doesn't. And so
no
it's
wonderful.
Just,
go ahead.
No, it's just don't live your life by the scale. Just throw it out because honestly,
what's really fun. Yeah, what's really fun is when someone says, "Oh, how much you?" Okay, 130. Oh, you don't look like you weigh 130. Like that's like morbidly and like, what did you think that I weighed? Like. So what is, and so I've been that weight at a very muscular level and a very non-muscular, and they look completely different.
Yeah, exactly.
And you look, when you've been working out and weight training, you're 130 more muscle, you look like in your mind what you would look like at 110 or 115. Sure. And right, as women, we know that's, and when you're working out with weights, and then you have people say, I don't want to get bulky. Girl.
I know.
But girl. Getting bulky with weights, you would have to inject hormone. You would have to take steroids. Women are not naturally built to bulk and get big. Weights. So this is a diet culture thing. And I learned this and I live and die by it. And now my mindset changed over time and it's been many years. Your muscles, when you weight train, your muscles will burn for up to 48 hours.
Oh yeah, it burns more calories.
Okay, it burns more calories.
Yeah.
So everybody thinks, I have to do cardio today. You can do cardio, but that cardio is only valid for that day.
Right.
You will burn whatever extra calories you consume that day. When you weight train, your body is in fat burning mode for 48 hours. So if you train every 2 days, you're constantly in a burn mode and your muscles will burn. When you are 130 of muscle versus 130 of non-muscle, first of all, you're fluffy, whatever, but you're tighter, you're smaller, you're more defined. And you're not going to bulk. You're not going to be a man. When I've seen friends of mine that are solid muscle, that are trainers, and you see them in person, they're like a size 0, size 2. They're petite, they're tiny. You're going, what? And then you see the pictures and you think, oh, they're these big. It's all perception.
100%.
And the muscle building is so important.
Well,
for
especially
bones, for everything.
Especially for women, we will lose muscle mass as we age.
Yes, and your bones.
And so it's so important. And I think this has been a helpful shift for me. I'm obviously still not there because, I have my treadmill, not my walking pad. And I have all the other things.
Oh, you got a treadmill.
Yeah. But I'm obviously still not there. But I think a helpful mindset shift for me has been to say, like, okay, I am exercising when I do. I am exercising because I love my body, not because I hate it. Or I have to do
and you can really do that?
I don't always believe it, but I think the more you have to train yourself to believe it.
Yeah, because it's hard.
It's really hard.
You can tell yourself that, but then there's that other side. You have to like the devil and the angel.
Sure.
I'm going to be good to myself. I'm going to talk positive to myself. And you say that and you're like, fuck you. You're still fat. And you didn't fit in your pants didn't buckle. So get out there and drink the water and go.
You're right. But I will tell you what, when I tell myself something like, if I don't feel like working out, and I say to myself, and I've had both of these thoughts, you fat, lazy bitch, will you just get up and move your body and do something? Like, I've had that thought. That thought sometimes motivates me, sometimes it doesn't. Whenever I say to myself something instead, like, man, you're so lucky that you could like pick up a weight, your body moves. Like if you could like, and you want to be good to it because you want more energy. That to me has always worked better. Now, it's not to say that I believe all of that and I love myself every moment of the day. Like, no, none of that. But those mindset shifts, when you can manage them, they are more motivating. And actually, they're research backed to be more motivating than the drill sergeant that criticizes you, that says you suck, you're not good enough. I don't know one
person that has lost weight, gone on a diet, whatever, and been successful and happy when they've done it because someone told them that they gain weight,
or because you're
someone
unhappy.
Told them. Right. It has to come from you. You have to think a lot of times how hard it is to change something in yourself. Like any habit, any personality thing that you have, when it's been brought to your attention or you realize, man, this is not a great trait that I have. I need to work on this. It's so hard to focus on it, to work on it, to change it. So that when someone else tells you, you should lose weight, whatever, you can't change someone else. You can't want it for them. You can't wish it or motivate them enough. It's got to come from within because the work is hard. The dieting is hard. The altering your eating, the going out to events and things and passing up the dessert, passing up the alcohol for the greater picture. You really have to be motivated and for the right reasons. It's not going to be because someone told you to do it. It's got to come
100%. And a lot of motivation, intrinsic motivation, which is what you're talking about. So there's extrinsic motivation, which is the motivation that comes from a compliment from somebody else, being able to fit into a certain size, seeing a certain number on the scale. That can only get you so far. Intrinsic motivation is when you do it for like yourself, right? For reasons that are really personal and meaningful to you. And that has a lot to do, that's tied very closely with autonomy, of feeling like I made this choice.
Right.
No one's imposing it on me. It's not for anybody else. That's really, really important. And so that's why I say these things that I talk about, these mindset shifts, I'm not saying they're easy. I'm not saying that they're the cure-all for everything, but I do think they're important because what the stats show is that people who just diet, they will gain all the weight back between 1 and like 5 years. So
not even years. It's months.
But most people between that, somewhere in that time frame, will gain it back. And yes, and for some people even sooner. So if you're not dealing with the root cause of where did this come from? Why do I overeat if you are in fact overweight, right? Like where is this all stemming from? If you're not working with your mindset, you're always going to end up on this treadmill of, just I'm up, I'm down, I'm up, I'm down, I'm happy, I'm sad.
Yeah, you're dieting. It's been forever. And I can say all my life until I started doing weights, which happened like in 2009. Like I was 38, I guess, some in there. And I started really like, I went to the same place I'm still going and I'm accountable, so I have to show up if I have my session or whatever. And I saw it. I saw the change. I saw the difference. And I was like, no matter what I do the rest of my life, I may not always be on it, but I'm never going to stop.
That's great.
Doing weights because my eating may not be on point, my whatever, and I'm still always in the back of my own mind.
Yeah,
you shouldn't have that. You already had something to drink. You shouldn't have the dessert because I know how I will feel the next day if something doesn't fit right. Yeah. If I expect it to fit a certain way and it doesn't. I know how I like to feel in my clothes. I try not to step on the scale ever because I know that number will dictate my day, my whatever, and I don't give it that power anymore. For me, it's my clothes. I know by how my clothes fit.
Yeah.
If I want to be a certain size, I know usually the weight range, whatever. But for me, it's about feeling good in my clothes, which gives me confidence, which makes me feel sexy, which makes me feel comfortable, which makes me feel outgoing. And, I'm a social person. So when I'm not feeling comfortable in my skin, if I feel fat, if I feel uncomfortable, if I feel I'm not at my best, I tend to retract into my own. I don't engage.
Yeah.
For me to feel that way that I like to feel, I like to be comfortable in my clothes. That's just
That's it. I get that. Well, let me ask you a question, because so we talked a little bit about how we grew up in an era of skinny is pretty, and to some extent that still exists. But then there was this like shift that we've seen lately toward body positivity and like pretty beautiful at every size, and we have to have very inclusive sizing and all that. And I feel a couple of ways about it, and I don't want to, I feel on the one hand that I love the idea of being more inclusive of like, yeah, not everybody's meant to be super stick thin. And like people can be beautiful and have some like, mondongos hanging out, you know, like you don't need to be
a stick.
You don't need to be a stick.
I mean, normal.
On the other hand, sometimes I think people use it to justify really unhealthy behavior. And like, we're all supposed to pretend that being severely overweight is just okay, when in fact, that person may be making some very unhealthy choices. And we're all supposed to be like, but we love it because it's body positivity. And I'm really struck with like, I don't know how to feel. I don't know what to do with it. What are your thoughts?
Oh, it's so loaded.
It is.
And I don't.
And I feel really badly. I don't want to like, I feel like I'm touching like a third rail, but.
No, it's such a heavy, I think because it runs the gamut. You know what I mean? Are people really, you have people that are severely overweight, obese, whatever, which is obviously not good for their health or whatever. But some of them are like, it's the way it is. And if they're fine with it, you're almost like, well, what does my comment give a shit? They don't give a shit if I think they're fat or not. They're going to keep doing whatever they're doing. And
no, I know, but not necessarily for the individual, but it's almost like what it promotes, right? Like, are we saying, yeah, it's okay to be unhealthy? Like, it's fine to be. I don't even
know if we're just promoting it. I don't think anybody promotes it. I think I did see something the other day that I was like, what tough waters to navigate. And I'll go there because I know we weren't going to bring it up, I think, in our private conversations with Lizzo.
Oh.
When she first came on the scene, she was very heavy. And of course, she got backlash from people saying, whatever they said to her, all the negative things. And then she went off social media for a while. And then she's been working on it. And now she's getting hate because she's lost weight. And it's like, but she did it, the right way, quote unquote. I think the right way is whatever works for you is your right way.
Sure.
I mean, the right way is not the same for everybody. And she was heavy, and I'm sure her health was at risk. And she's still heavy, but she feels good. And she felt good, I guess, at a heavier weight. And now people are saying, oh, you sold out, whatever. Why did she sell out?
This happens a lot.
Why did she sell out? Because she's supposed to stay heavy to make other people happy, the other people that are heavy also. Maybe she just was dealing with it, was like, okay, I'm okay like this, but I think I'd like to be a little bit healthier. I'd like to feel less winded. I'd like to feel more energy. I'd like to feel prettier in my skin. If I could do it, why not? And do weights. And she's been working at it, and she's lost weight, and she looks beautiful. And
she's always been beautiful, but this happens a lot with women in particular who are larger women, and they become like these icons of body positivity and look how beautiful and amazing you could be at any size, which I do think you can be. Like, I'm not trying to suggest that you're not beautiful at a size, whatever, nothing like that. But they become these icons for larger women. And then when they lose weight, the backlash is so harsh. And this came up recently with Kelly Clarkson. And a lot of women feel that way about her. And anybody who goes from a big size to a smaller size, suddenly it's like they hate you for getting healthier and for making choices that feel good for you.
If they were fine where they were, they would have stayed where they were. But maybe for them, and I think being in the public eye or whatever, you first of all, you have a team of people telling you a million things. But they need to dress you. You have a stylist, you have a publicist, you have this, that, and you're constantly getting backlash. And I'm sure for your self-esteem, a million things happen. You get the comments, you get that's the world that they're in. But I think everyday women, that are bigger or smaller, or just accept, you have to tell yourself, if that person is happy where they're at, who the hell am I to tell them?
Oh, sure. I just don't want to
screw you. You were big and now you're not.
No. Yeah.
Maybe they didn't want to be big, and maybe they did, and they're fine with it.
Well, it's more that I just don't want, especially for generations that are very they're at an influential point, and all of us are subject to
social media has changed
influence
life.
But you look
100%.
at young girls, and I just don't want, like, I think both ends of the spectrum are bad, right? Like, we should not be promoting eating disorders and, eat 700 calories a day. There used to be, do you remember Tumblr?
Oh, I know that. I never. Yeah.
Tumblr used to be like, I was never on it, but it was like this,
Dating
social
app,
media.
no?
No.
Well, I thought it was a dating app.
Oh my God, you're so old.
Listen, girl, I've been out of that game for a long time.
It's not a dating app.
Match.com.
It's not a dating app.
Okay. Tumblr's not a dating app?
No, you're talking about Tinder?
Oh, there's Tinder. Okay. Gen X, whatever, leave me alone. I'm proud of it. I need another mimosa. Go ahead. Okay, so Tumblr. Is that like Vine?
No.
Vines were a thing.
Vines were a thing, yes.
It's not a Tumblr thing. I know.
Very good.
I know. I'm taking it back.
No. Tumblr was like, it was like a social media platform, but it wasn't, I don't know, it had like its own thing. Again, I wasn't really on it, but it had like, would share images and stuff like that. But they had a lot of, there was a whole thing, I think it started on Tumblr, called like Pro Anna, which was basically like promoting anorexia. And so there was a whole movement toward like tips essentially for how to be anorexic. And it was things like, you wear a rubber band, and whenever you get hungry, you snap yourself.
You see?
Or, eat, whatever, like do this before you go to an event, or stock up on ice, and just.
Wasn't it the supermodels that used to do tampons soaked in something? Do you remember that?
Vodka, but then you
vodka.
That, yeah, but that's to get drunk. That's not to like.
Yeah, but then they wouldn't eat and they wouldn't drink because they wouldn't ingest the calories.
Oh well, because they're supermodels of the '90s. They could not gain a pound.
They used to do that. Tampons soaked in shit. Can you believe that shit? They would eat cotton.
Yeah,
that's another rumor. I don't know if that was really true. I would love to know.
So
but
actually,
eating cotton.
In preparation for this episode.
What in the hell?
In preparation for this episode, I looked up like diet fads of yesteryear, and there were some fucking crazy ones.
Tell me, because I know a lot of them.
Okay. Let's see if you've tried this.
Lived them and did them.
Did you ever ingest a tapeworm?
I did not.
Okay.
And
so that was a real thing.
So gross.
That was a real thing. You would ingest a tapeworm so that it would eat all the, what tapeworms do.
No. I draw the line. No.
No. Okay.
I wanted to be on Fear Factor.
Let's do
but for different reasons.
Is yay or nay for Claudia?
Okay.
Are you willing to try it?
Okay. Mikey, he'll eat it.
Give it to Mikey. Cigarette diet is basically that's the supermodel diet. Cigarettes to suppress
I did cigarettes for a while. I don't know if it was just a diet, but I remember thinking, I won't be hungry if I smoke. So
I actually, you know what though? I used to smoke for a long time. Yeah. And you know what the best cigarette was? The one after you had a good meal.
The first drink. Oh no. After a drink at a bar, and you're like,
well, there were several. So there's the drink with the alcohol. There's the cigarette with the alcohol, which is delicious. There's the one with the coffee, also delicious. Mm. And after a big meal. No. And you know what? I'll tell you a TMI one, because that's what we're here to do. So I remember my brother, my oldest brother, he's in the medical field, very healthy man, did not approve of my cigarette smoking, but he's lovely and supports me no matter what. And one day we were talking about smoking cigarettes, and I was telling him about how, like this, and he was like, well, yeah, because it enhances, like, anytime you do a pleasurable activity, like it hits the same pleasure centers, blah, 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 science. And then
take all the fun out of it.
Yeah. Like, And then he's like, one day after, he started asking me, he's like, do you enjoy one after you like take a shit? And I was like, what? And I was like,
before, because it makes you.
No. And I was like, how dare you? Like, ew, no, like that's so gross. And he was like, well, taking a shit is like a pleasurable activity. And I was like, I was adamant that this was never going to be me. And when I tell you
that you have a pack of cigarettes next to your toilet, you're like, oh.
after you let it out, and you were just like,
yes, I did that. I accomplished that. You get flushed. Do that again.
And I was just like, that fucker was right. Like it It does feel so.
Meanwhile, he's in his yoga pose with his feet behind his neck. He's like, I told you.
He's like eating a bowl of wheatgrass and like meditating in somewhere. And I'm just like, here my post shit like cigarette.
Alex, you're right.
I know.
4 cigarettes in. Yeah.
All right.
Juan's like, are you okay?
All right. So cigarette diet it's a go for me. All right. No. So the sleeping beauty diet. So this one is.
Let me guess. You sleep your way through life so you don't eat.
Yeah, so you take sedatives so that you will be asleep for a longer portion of the day and you won't be eating. Elvis was a fan of this one.
Who was? Elvis? Well, he was on everything. God bless him. He died on the toilet. Come on. Probably smoking a cigarette after he took a great shit.
No, he didn't even get his post-dump cigarette. God damn, poor
died
guy.
right there. Poof.
Ugh, okay.
No.
There's the chew 100 times before you swallow diet.
That was an I Love Lucy episode where she was supposed to chew because she didn't want to tell Ricky what she was doing. I Love Lucy. Yeah, come on now. And she would chew. So I did it after watching her. I'm like, oh, I need to chew
100 times.
I don't know how many times, but it was a lot. And
Have you ever tried
it turns
chewing
into
100
mush.
times?
It turns into like a paste of whatever you're chewing. I'm like, no, I'm still going to eat everything.
So no. So Claudia's not doing the 100.
No, I'm not doing that.
What about the baby food diet?
No. I've thought of it. Never really delved into it, but I've thought of it. Oh, I'm like, they have no calories. Let me just eat a bunch of those. No.
All right. No to that one.
What else?
Okay, now let's go to the more modern ones. Let's go more present day. Keto.
I've done that.
I've done it too. I got constipated.
I don't remember. I don't care what the side effects are. If it works, I will do. If it turns my skin green, I don't care.
I don't think it worked and I got constipated.
It did, and I tried a bunch of recipes like a cheesecake because I need to have like a dessert something.
Oh, for sure.
And it worked. It kind of worked.
Okay.
Meh.
Whole30.
Did that one? Your brother suggested that to me. Ugh. Bought the book, bought the thing. I don't know if I did it.
I didn't do it. Intermittent fasting.
Yes, I've done that.
I've done that too.
That's supposedly very, and it goes back to caveman eras and you starve for a certain time and your body kicks into whatever.
Yeah.
I've heard from many people that it works for them.
Well, I've heard that too. I think it depends, but I've heard mixed reviews on whether it's actually good for women or not. I don't know. There's so much fucking
I have a friend that doesn't eat until 4, and from 4 to 8, she eats and drinks whatever she wants, and that's it. She's done until the next day at 4.
I have a friend who does that too. It's called one meal, OMAD or something like that. One meal a day.
No, that's that.
She lost a ton of weight on it though.
Yeah.
But I don't know how sustainable is that.
Exactly. I think you need to find the sustainable. And I go through phases. I go through phases where I wake up and I'm starving and I need to eat right away. And then I'm a big, if I stay up late, I need to have something to snack. So I have like the protein bars, the protein shakes or something. Then I'm like, okay, I tell myself that that's okay. The people that stop eating at like 7 or 8 and then they stay up late.
Who's that? Not me.
I'm going to eat a small child by midnight for sure. Do not. That is not.
Same.
Let me eat as late as possible. And then just tell me it's okay to eat. Yes, you can have a protein shake or you can have a protein bar or whatever. Just tell me that when I'm watching Family Feud and Steve Harvey at 11:30, I can stuff something in my mouth and say, oh, I had a snack.
I agree with you, but you mentioned protein a couple times. And so I occasionally will post on TikTok every now and again. And today I did like a random rant because I cannot stop getting videos shown to me. And again, it's because I keep watching them, so it's my own fault.
Yeah. But protein?
All about fucking protein. And it's like, how many grams of protein are you eating? And I made this, and it's high protein this, and high protein that. And now I'm getting bombarded with high protein coffee. And I'm like, fuck all the way off. Because there are few things in my life that I look forward to. You're going to have to hold it.
Yeah.
That I look forward to more than my morning coffee. And if you're going to fucking ruin it with a protein powder, I don't want to hear it.
How about the bullet coffee, the butter coffee? For a while, my family laughed at me. Yeah.
You know what's not delicious? Protein powder. And I'm not putting it in my
vanilla
coffee.
Protein powder is not bad with a little bit of whipped cream.
No, it is bad. Right. It is bad. It tastes like protein powder.
Yeah.
And my coffee is supposed to be delicious.
I know.
It is a sacred ritual. And I know.
It's here in my room. I don't have to leave.
That's how important it is.
I know.
So how dare they? Okay, anyway.
So protein is important. It's important.
Get your protein.
And as you get older, but now that I know I have to get it,
like
now
300 grams of protein a day.
No, it's 100. It's 100, but
no, they are the new wisdom of the TikTokers on the Skinny Talk.
Yeah,
is you're supposed to eat. I think it's your goal weight in protein every day.
A lot, but I mean,
fuck yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah,
I'm not eating all that.
I don't even get hungry till like
Get out of my
whatever.
face.
I'm
Get
not even going
out
to go
of
there,
my
but
face.
I've tried it all. I've sacrificed a lot. I've gone to parties, events. I used to go to my daughter's. She played travel volleyball for 6 years. And when we would go away on a weekend and I would pack for everything, I would pack my cooler full of food for the weekend. And I would pack my hard-boiled eggs and my sliced delis. And I'd have my timer and every 3 hours and a gallon of water. And
Who can live like this?
I did it, and I was so proud of myself for doing it. I would go to the team dinners, and I'd watch everybody eat and drink, and I'm like, no, I can't, dying inside because I had to stick to my thing. And in the end, yeah, it works, but it's got to be something, it's a lifestyle, and you hear that a million times. It has to fit into your lifestyle. You really have to find something that works for your everyday, and I can't remember if we said this before, but I will stick to this after the last 2 years of a nutritionist I saw and whatever. Find one thing that you can change and stick to. If it's walking first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, doing empty fasting cardio was a game changer for me. Of the million things I've tried in the last 15 years, if not my lifetime, the walking at your fat burn rate, which is not a high, it's not like you're booking it. You just need to get your heart rate there and maintain it for 45 minutes on an empty stomach. That really goes a long way for getting and then if you just give yourself a goal, say before bed, I'm going to have a protein shake with casein, which burns fat while you're sleeping. Or just change the one thing and make sure you've got that now in your routine all the time. So it's not like a new thing.
Yeah.
Then incorporate something else. But don't do it all at once. Don't go and every day I'm going to do a new activity and I join yoga and then Tuesdays I swim and Thursdays I jog. And you're not going to keep that up.
Well, you can, but like you said, you have to build on it. And that's like just a basic tenet of habit change is that you have to make like micro changes.
If you have kids that are involved in sports or something, while they're at that sport, go walk around the field or go walk while you wait for them. Like just incorporate it somewhere that you can continue. Because it's the thing that you now are altering your life for. You're not going to continue it. You're just not. And that's not healthy.
I hear you. So,
did we want to do a card?
You want to do a card?
Let's do a card.
So,
before we
did
go.
I have anything else I want to say? You know what? Who cares?
We'll continue.
I feel like we touched a lot of ground, and this is a loaded topic. So we do want to do a part 2, and we're going to bring in the boys.
We're going to bring in the boys. We're going to go to my gym, which is a small personal training gym. It's not like a big.
She fancy, folks.
No, she's been fancy. She's been going there for a long time, and
she got personal training.
Well, you know what? It makes me accountable, and I feel like shit if I don't go because someone's waiting for me to show up. So I hear you. I've tried it all, and that works for me.
Yep.
So, and they're very cool. And the guys there today were like, "Oh, you're doing podcasts, whatever. What's it about?" And then they got into it about dating, about girls' bodies. I said, "Oh, we're gonna come talk to you guys."
So we were talking a little bit about this earlier, but so this is obviously, I think a lot of women will relate to a lot of what we're talking about because we're two ladies chatting. But I think the men are dying to talk to somebody.
Yeah,
like they have no one to let it out to because guys don't talk to each other. Their conversations are ridiculous. So we do want to give the boys a place to vent, to
it's
chat,
important, and I think it's important for women to understand the real mindset of guys, because if that's what you're trying,
well, I don't even know that I care.
There's many girls out there and many women that are trying to
but I think
doing things because they think that's what's gonna attract what they think they want to attract, and wrong.
All right, so let's do our cards. Okay, so
We're gonna do a card.
So these little cards that Claudia got, they're called Delve Deck. You can sponsor us, Delve Deck. Just kidding.
Yeah. So they've got a joy deck, joy questions, venting questions, and just delving in general. And then they go in categories like light and easy, then medium, and then like super deep.
All right.
So we're just gonna pick one.
All right. So every episode do we each pick one, or do we just
let's just wing it? Whatever. Just pick one from wherever. We've got a joy.
All right. Go.
Joy, venting, and regular. So pick whatever topic you want. We'll go with it, and then we'll close it out for today.
Let's vent.
So gray box.
Okay.
Pick one. So in the front, it's easy peasy. No, that's delve. Vent is the gray one. There we go. Pick one of those, and we're just gonna pose the question and see where it takes us. Do we want it or not?
Oh man.
Oh Jesus.
All right. Who or what brings out your worst qualities?
Would have been. I know this is horrible. I'm sorry. My mom would have
Oh no.
been. The buttons. Oh my God. And I think
She was a champion button pusher.
oh my God.
Her mom was my grandma, for anyone who doesn't know.
She just knew. I mean, within 10 seconds, that's it. I was ready to leave from visiting. And I hated it because it made me not want to visit her. But it's, in an instant. In an instant. That's just, I can't.
Okay.
I don't have to deal with it anymore. But I would be hard pressed to find someone else that can push my buttons or bring that out.
That level of
or
just
someone who says you're just a mom or it's just a dog. Right there.
Oh.
It's done. We're going. What? We're gonna go at it right now.
Fisticuffs.
Yep. How about you?
Okay, I can't think of like a person that really like pushes my buttons like that. I think for me, when I'm at my worst is when I haven't gotten any sleep. If I'm tired, I'm really bad. Like I'm really rude.
Hungry?
No, I don't get that hangry. I mean, sometimes, but like for me, truly, like I'm just a rude ass bitch and I am horrible to be around. It literally just happened on our way back from New York. To bring it full circle, I barely got any sleep. I was so tired and I was a huge bitch to my husband. And he was like, what's your problem? And then my favorite move is to gaslight him and be like, what are you talking about? Like, you're the one who has a problem. I'm being fine. And he looks at me like,
like, you're lucky I love you. Because I get it. You're just a bitch right now and I'm going to ignore you.
No, he literally stops talking to me. And then I'm like the puppy that's like, why are you ignoring me? Why aren't you talking to me?
What did I say? Why are you mad?
Yeah. And then I'll try to spin it. And then eventually I'll get around to like, you know what? I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm just a bitch and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So my worst quality, what brings out my worst quality is no sleep.
That being hungry is bad for me. And then I really turn into a different human when I encounter, it's going to sound bad, so forgive me, those of you who don't like it, but like customer service people, like at a rich, that talk to you like you're a fucking idiot. Like they talk to you like you're annoying, you're old, you don't know, and it's like, seriously.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Rude
you
customer
were warned
service.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I don't like that either.
Yeah, so that can set me off quick.
Okay.
But other than that. So
all right,
I think
friends.
we'll leave it. I think we'll leave it there.
We've come to the end of the road. We still have a lot more to say. As you saw, I brought like an essay with me here. So there's a lot going on. So we are going to do
cards.
Yeah, we have many more episodes to come. We have a part 2 to come.
Yeah.
And thanks for joining us.
Yeah, and if you have any comments, maybe something you want us to add in part 2, please, you can DM us. You can send an email.
Yeah, you can ask us at
TMIFYpodcast.com.
Yeah. You can DM us. Our Instagram is TMI.FYI. TMI.FYI.
And we hope to keep seeing you. We have so many fun topics.
We have a lot lined up for you guys.
Yeah.
So please share with us any of your TMI moments. Share with us anything that you want us to talk about, any feedback you have, especially about Claudia. And
because I'm going to ignore it.
and we're
going to scroll. I'm not even looking at it. So it doesn't matter, but go ahead.
Claudia loves a comment section. And we will see you all next week. Bye.